Hello and welcome back to Smart Money Live Trivia, the show that rewards you for being super smart and super fast. Shout out to D-Girl for holding it down in the last 2 episodes, and we're back with me, your host, at DBC Preliminary. And of course, the rules remain the same. Answer 12 questions correctly in the fastest possible time, and you stand a chance to win 20,000 Naira cash prize. Cha-ching! All right, guys, if you're just joining us on YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel, turn on the bell icon so that you get notified every time the show starts. Every weekday, Monday through Fridays. And follow us on Instagram at @officialblackdrumtv, where you'll be able to contact us if, in case you win, and you want to send us your details and cash out your prizes. All right, guys, without further ado, let's jump into the first question. Question 1. Which of the following is given as awards in sports coaching in India? Which of the following is given as awards in sports coaching in India? The options are Beauty Awards, Rajiv Gandhi; Arjuna Awards, Dronacharya Awards. Pardon my Indian accent. I've not seen a lot of Bollywood movies recently, so yeah. I don't even see a lot of Bollywood movies at all. But anyways, the answer is option D. That's the answer. Question 2. Who is the current Inspector General of Police? Who is the current Inspector General of Police? And I hope you're not thinking about Abba Kyari. He's not the IG. All right, the options are IGP Usman Alkali Baba, IGP Musa Karim, IGP Yakub Audu, IGP Isa Aliyu. And the answer is IGP Usman Alkali Baba. All right, question 3. In what year was the name vitamins coined? In what year was the name vitamins coined? All right, the options are 1952, 1912, 1936, and 1927. Whew, good luck to anyone who is not a pharmacy student. And the answer is 1912. That year sounds familiar. I think something else happened in 1912. Oh, well. Question 4. Pate is a local delicacy found in dash. Pate is a local delicacy found in dash. North of Nigeria, southwest of Nigeria, south of Nigeria, east of Nigeria. Well, for one, I know it's not east of Nigeria. They'll probably name it something else, but it can't, I don't think it's it. Anyway, don't listen to me. And the answer is north of Nigeria. Question 5. Computer, question 5. Who is the current chairman of the African Union? Who is the current chairman of the African Union? The options are Felix Antoine Tshisekedi, Samson George, Dr. Alvan Aman, Solomon La. Wait, that's his name? Solomon La. Solomon La. Jesus, what would they think when they named him that? All right, the answer is Felix Antoine Tshisekedi. Question 6. Last question for the first half. Question 6. Who discovered blood group O? Who discovered blood group O? Probably Adam. The options are Oriental, Landsteiner, Olisi, Carson, as in Ben Carson. Can't be Ben Carson. There's been blood group O before Ben Carson. And the answer is Landsteiner. All right, guys, that's the first 6 questions of the 12 questions. I hope someone is getting all 6 questions correctly in the fastest possible time. We'll take a short break so that you can learn something. And when we return, we'll continue with 6 questions. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Today, we're going to take a look at some of the most fascinating technologies and inventions of the past that you probably haven't heard of. There are actually quite a few ingenious inventions that were really far advanced for their time. Let's start with the Lycurgus Cup. This artifact from ancient Rome has special properties that can change color. If you shine a light through the glass, the opaque green of the cup turns into a bright, semi-transparent red. The Lycurgus Cup dates back to the 4th century and was made out of dichroic glass. Tiny nanoparticles of colloidal gold and silver color the glass either red or blue-violet. Church windows of old cathedrals were also made with this nanotechnology in the past, but the Lycurgus Cup is the only fully preserved artifact that changes colors. Even if people back then probably didn't understand the process that well, they could still apply it and create impressive objects. The technology that is now rarely used can also be found north of Australia. Marshallese stick charts are grid-like structures made of parts of plants and shells that serve as orientation tools and were used by the islanders in Micronesia. The coconut leaf ribs illustrate the location of individual atolls, which are shown on the map by tethered cowrie shells, and also document the ocean currents and the places where the sea is particularly dangerous. In order to understand a stick chart, you have to be instructed by the person who built it, and this knowledge was only available to a few particularly well-trained navigators. Since the beginning of the 20th century, however, the traditional orientation aids have been increasingly replaced with logs and compasses, as almost nobody wants to undertake the arduous training. Fridges and freezers have become an indispensable part of our lives, but who would have thought that people were already working on such inventions 2,500 years ago? In Persia, they developed the Yakchal, a dome-like cold room with a volume of up to 5,000 cubic meters in which ice was kept. There was a whole range of different models that were either used to store ice from the mountains during the summer or even to produce ice directly on site. Next to the dome, there was usually a shadow-casting wall and a wind catcher, which additionally cooled the room. A special mortar made of sand, clay, ash, and goat hair was used for the construction, which had a particularly heat-repellent effect. Here you could freeze food even in the really hot summer months and make it last longer. Many of these impressive structures are still standing today and can be used again at any time. The beginning of robotics also goes back much further than you might think, because the Greek engineer and mathematician Heron of Alexandria created the forefather of all robots around 2,000 years ago. It was a three-wheeled carriage intended for theatrical performances. With an ingenious system of ropes and a falling weight that was slowed down by a counterweight, the car was able to drive independently for a while. Wrapping the rope around stakes placed on one of the axes enabled the robot to drive curves. Doing it on both sides simultaneously would make it go backwards. By hammering in the stakes in different places and laying the ropes, the mathematician was able to program the robot and determine exactly how it would move. In addition to the robot, Heron of Alexandria also invented something that could have led the whole world into the Industrial Revolution 1700 years earlier, and that was Heron's ball, the first steam engine in history. It consisted of a ball with two curved nozzles and two tubes that led into the ball. When the water in which the tubes stood was heated, the water vapor flowed into the ball and out of both ends, causing the ball to turn. What looks like a little gimmick could have fundamentally changed our entire history of the last 2,000 years if more people of the ancient world had seen a practical utility in the invention. Even the world's first building automation system can be traced back to Heron, namely automatic doors in a temple. In this invention, the sacrificial altar fire heated the air in a closed container, causing it to expand and force water into a counterweight until it exceeded the weight of the other side of the scale, causing the scale to swing sideways. Since the scales were connected to the pivot pins of the temple doors by chains, these now opened. After the air cooled down again, the process turned around and the doors closed again, a process that must have seemed like a miracle to the believers of the time. It's really unbelievable what kind of ideas this genius came up with, and it's a shame that most of them have been forgotten for so many years, while they could have led the world into a new age. Less revolutionary but just as impressive was the Hypogeum of House Laflini, which was built around 3,800 years before the inventions of Heron. This underground temple complex on Malta is the only completely preserved cult site from the Neolithic age and was used as a sanctuary and for the burial of the dead, which is why the skeletons of 7,000 people were found here. The acoustics in the oracle chamber are particularly exceptional. In this room, which was carved out of solid limestone, every word is amplified 100 times, and thus can be heard throughout the whole temple. Some researchers are of the opinion that the builders wanted to specifically influence the psyche of the people by making the mystical ritual experiences significantly more intense. The frequency of 110 Hz, with which the sounds were reproduced, is said to be able to change people's moods, social behavior, and empathy. But occult ritual chambers were not the only thing far more advanced than you might believe. The same is also true for some industrial processes. For example, 2,000 years ago, artists and craftsmen were already able to apply extremely thin metal coatings evenly. This not only allowed them to increase durability, but also saved expensive materials. Although they did not understand the chemical process as well as scientists do today, they could also use mercury-like glue to apply thin coatings to the desired object. Other metalwork also shows us the knowledge that blacksmiths and craftsmen had back then. An example of this is the iron pillar of King Chandragupta II, Vikramaditya, which is now standing in Delhi, India. It was built around 1600 years ago, making it one of the oldest metal monuments in the world. The good condition of the column today, all these years later, testifies to the distinctive expertise of the early Indian blacksmiths in iron processing. The monument was not simply cast, but made by fire welding, which was quite difficult at the time due to the material available. In addition, it is protected from rusting by a thin protective layer, which was created by a reaction between iron, phosphorus, oxygen in the air, and humidity, creating the iron-hydrogen phosphate hydrate. This means that moisture and oxygen can no longer penetrate, and the column remains rust-free. Concrete as we know it today was invented in the 19th century, but there was already a building material 2,000 years ago that was even better, namely the long-forgotten Roman concrete. The recipe is almost the same, except that in addition to limestone, clay, and gypsum, volcanic ash is also mixed in. This not only makes the production more energy-saving and environmentally friendly, the concrete mixed from this cement is also better protected against the ingress of water and the spread of cracks in the building material, and becomes stronger over time. It was only thanks to this miracle material that buildings like the Colosseum or the Pantheon with its huge dome were possible, and even today, material researchers can use it to improve the composition of modern concrete. With a seismometer, you can measure the tremors of an earthquake and thus gain various insights, such as the strength of the shock. The basic principle of this device was invented over 1800 years ago by the Chinese astronomer Zhang Heng. His bronze seismoscope consisted of 8 dragons sitting on an urn, each of which looked in a different direction. Each dragon also had a small copper ball in its mouth. Among them were 8 copper toads with a large open mouth. If there was an earthquake somewhere in China, you could see which direction the center of the earthquake was, depending on which ball fell into a toad's mouth. As a result, the emperor was able to send aid to the affected areas before messengers had arrived to report the shocks. The mechanism inside is based on a pendulum system that is extremely sensitive to vibrations and ensures that the correct ball is falling down into one of the toads. A less useful but very entertaining invention was constructed by Leonardo da Vinci in 1495, known as Leonardo's robot. This mechanical knight has inner workings of pulleys and ropes with which one can control the robot. It can sit, stand, push up the visor of its helmet, or move its arms freely. The human movements of the mechanical knight testify to Da Vinci's extraordinary knowledge of anatomy. In 1850, an English archaeologist found a very special artifact in the royal palace of Nimrud in Mesopotamia, namely the oldest lens in the world. The rock crystal lens from Nimrud is estimated to be 3,000 years old and has a 3-fold magnification. According to researchers, it was probably either part of a telescope or was used by a craftsman who left extremely small inscriptions on Assyrian artifacts. In any case, the lens was very far ahead of its time because the mathematical basis for aspherical surfaces was only conceived during the Renaissance more than 2,500 years later. An extremely large number of useful things have been invented in China in the past, but one thing I found surprising was the early use of natural gas. Since the Han Dynasty around 202 years before Christ, deep holes have been drilled in China, and the exiting natural gas has been conducted to ovens using bamboo pipelines. There, with the help of the heat generated by the burning gas, salt water was evaporated in large iron pans in order to get to the salt. 800 years later, in the Tang Dynasty, people even put the gas into lockable bamboo tubes that could be carried around. These were the first gas cylinders in the world. One of the best examples of the engineering marvels of ancient times is the famous Antikythera Mechanism. In 1900s, the fragments of this invention were discovered in an ancient Greek shipwreck and brought to the surface. The purpose and functioning of this mechanism did not become known until many years later. A British science historian described the artifact as a great astronomical clock with no escapements and a modern analog computer that uses mechanical parts to eliminate tedious calculations. The mechanism, driven by a hard crank, is much more complex than that of most modern clocks. X-rays of the fragments and their inscriptions suggest that this astronomical clock could predict solar and lunar eclipses. The display on the front reflected the positions of the Sun, the Moon, and possibly even all of the planets known at the time on their orbits. On the back, the times of the Medon period, 19 solar years or 235 lunar periods, the Olympiads, the Panhellenic Games, and the expected solar and lunar eclipses were also displayed. This extremely complex mechanism that consists of dozens of gears actually worked, which replicas have proven. Unfortunately, it's not known who exactly built this device, but according to some writings, there have been many more advanced mechanisms in ancient times. So maybe one day we will find one of these amazing technological wonders of that time. Well, that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed the video. Take care. See you next time. Bye.
Hello and welcome back to Smart Money Life Trivia, the show that rewards you for being super smart and super fast. I'm your host, Adebisi Pelumi. Shout out to everyone who participated in the first half of the 12 questions, which is 6 questions. I hope we have someone who is taking the lead in the in the tally rather. And yeah, we'll jump to the next 6 questions. But before that, if you're just joining us, please ensure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, turn on the bell icon so that I get notified once the show starts every day of the week, Mondays through Fridays. The rules remain the same. Answer 12 questions correctly in the fastest possible way. And of course, you stand a chance of winning 20,000 Naira cash prize. Follow us on Instagram at official Black Drum TV so that you can reach out to us to collect your cash prize once you win. All right. Shout out to Adedamola Adeshino. Shout out to Barakat Aliyu, Ellis Footwear. Shout out to Ben Morgan, Falana Oladele. Shout out to Okosoya Victor. You guys, we see your comments. We hope that one of you wins today's cash prize. All right. Let's move straight to question 7. Which one of the following is associated with Gangnam Narang sports? Which of the one of the following is associated with Gangnam Narang sports? The options are badminton, golf, air rifle shooting, volleyball. First off, I don't know what Gangnam Narang sports is, but if you are in the comments and you know and you answer correctly in the fastest time, good luck. The answer is air rifle shooting. Okay, learned something new today. Question 8. Which of these movies didn't feature any actress? Which of these movies didn't feature any actress? Now that's some straight up sexist movie if you ask me. The options are Missing Child, At the Dusk, Before the Rain, When the Sun Sets. And the answer is Before the Rain. Okay. All right, question 9. Who discovered radium or radium? Who discovered radium, you know, that's very radioactive material? The options are Jimmy Lee. Sounds like a Chinese Kung Fu master. Anthony Ballo. This one sounds like a boxer. Marie Curie. Sounds like a writer. Randiva Williams. Philosopher. Definitely philosopher. And the answer is Marie Curie. All right. Question 10. Who is the Secretary General of the United Nations? Who is the Secretary General of the United Nations? The options are Antonio Guterres, Ban Ki-moon, Hublot John, Mark Spencer. Mark Spencer? Is that not a character in one of this movie? I think, was it Silicon Valley or so? Anyways, the answer is Antonio Guterres. All right, question 11. When I saw that Antonio Guterres, a thought came to my mind, but I'm not going to say it. Tonto Dike made her major acting debut in which of these films? Tonto Dike made her major acting debut in which of these films? The options are After the Rain, Dirty Secret, Holy Cross, Sister Sister. Which one do you think Tonto would have featured in? The answer is Holy Cross. All right, last question of the day, question 12. Which day does Nigeria celebrate her National Sports Day? We have a sports day, people. We do. Which day does Nigeria celebrate her National Sports Day? The options are November 20th, September 10th, August 29th, December 6th. Well, there's, I don't know. And the answer is August 29th. All right, that's a wrap on the 12 questions. We'll take a short break, and when we return, we'll be announcing our winners if we have any. Don't forget to stay tuned, or follow us on Instagram at official Black Drum TV. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back. Welcome back to Smart Money Live Trivia, the show that rewards you for being super smart and super fast. But unfortunately, guys, no one won today's cash prize. I'm heartbroken. I am sad. I am beyond devastated. Oh, God, good God. You guys should win this cash prize now. Please, we're doing everything we can for you guys to win. Quick rule. We noticed that people comment their answers after I have announced the answer on the live show. So right now, we've introduced the full stop margin, which means anytime you see the full stop, do not answer that question again. It means the 5 seconds to answer the question has elapsed and I've announced the answer. Any other option that comes after that comes in late. Even if it's right, it comes in late. Remember, it's fastest fingers that gets the correct answers correctly that wins the prize. All right, guys, I'm your host, Adebisi Pelumi. It's sad that no one won today's episode. I was really rooting for Adeshino Adedamola, but well, alas, that didn't happen. Shout out to everyone who participated. Shout out to our sponsors. Shout out to Black Drum TV. Thank you for watching today's episode. Until the next one, remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, turn on the bell icon, and follow us on Instagram at official Black Drum TV. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Adebisi Pelumi III. Until next episode, stay safe, stay smart, and stay fast. We'll be right back.